Thank you, Gun Interactive, for the code. Before we get started, please be advised there is some graphic and violent scenes due to the nature of this video. Enjoy!
April 1973. Tragedy and despair have struck Central Texas. A young college student named Maria Flores has seemingly vanished without a trace. She was last seen near the town of Newt more than 2 weeks ago, but with no physical evidence, the investigation has stalled. With few leads and even less hope, Maria's younger sister Ana Flores and a group of her closest friends set out to find their missing loved one. But any grief or sadness caused by Maria's disappearance would pale in comparison to the agony and despair they would soon discover. What awaited this group of youths was a nightmare beyond belief. The events surrounding Maria's disappearance would be just one of the many bizarre crimes later known as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
An absolute classic when it comes to slasher films, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has jumped from the big screen to the small screen with a brand new PvP game that pits victims against the family. With the surge of PvP killer vs survivor games like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, it makes sense that Gun Interactive, makers of Friday the 13th, would look at the Texas Chainsaw franchise for the next game. Unlike games like Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th, the survivors aren't running away from one killer, but multiple killers. That's right, friends, the Texas Chainsaw family is running around the compound trying to eviscerate you from existence. Let's start with the exterior stuff before we really dig into the gameplay. First, the graphical settings. This is what they have available on PC. Everything is pretty standard here with the game, and it looks pretty good. If you care about rig specs, I'm playing on an RTX 3070 with a Ryzen 7 5800X. The game itself runs very well at a stable 60 frames per second for me on high settings, and I haven't noticed any real hitches as I run around. There also hasn't been any noticeable screen tearing. The audio is also very good in this game. Noise is a big part of how a family member can find a survivor, either by the survivor lifting things too quickly or making too much noise when searching for lockpicks. So that audio needs to come across to the player. I feel like it does that well in this game. As a victim, hearing the footsteps of the family above or around you, or the revving of Leatherface's chainsaw in the next room really sets the tone. This also works for the screams that'll randomly emanate from the hallways and depths of the basement.
Okay, stay calm. Maybe I can find something. What's going on?
Gates creak, chickens balk, and bone traps will rattle as you walk past them. Everything, audio-wise, makes sense for the package that Gun Interactive is trying to deliver. One thing I really like about this game is that everyone, whether you're a family member or survivor, has a skill tree, and it's not linear. You can build your survivor or family member the way you want. You can respec those trees at any point to try out different builds. In conjunction with those skill trees are abilities. These abilities basically add different modifiers to your character that will allow them to interact with their environment differently. A loadout system was also added, so you don't have to go through a process of trying to change your character's abilities during the selection screen. This system works really, really well because it adds variety to the game. You don't know what type of Leatherface or Survivor Ana or whomever you're running into. They'll all be tuned differently, which gives the game a fresh feeling. It's a great choice to include this. But the gameplay, my friends, the gameplay is where this game shines. Let's break it down into two sides. First are your survivors.
Baldy was last seen near the town of Newt. The vehicle was recently discovered abandoned, with officials reporting no signs of foul play. Authorities are hopeful that the expanded search into the nearby communities of Harlow and Chinatown will unearth new leads. Family and
Your objective is to get out, escape, run away, live. You'll start in the basement on a large hook, and after wiggling yourself off of it, need to do something. Your objective is to get out of the compound, escape, run away, survive. You'll start in the basement on a large hook, and after wiggling yourself off of it, need to do some searching. Searching through boxes and bone piles will give you things like lockpicks and bone scraps. Lockpicks, pretty obvious. Unlock doors, try to get upstairs. Bone scraps can be used to create weapons, which can slow down your attacker. Once you leave the basement, it's your job to figure out A, where the exits are, and B, how to access them. There are multiples on each map. These could be figuring out how to open gates, turning off electricity, overflowing valves. Earlier, I mentioned audio being a huge part of this game, and that's because the traps are designed to alert the family members where you are. Chickens will go off in their cages if you move too quickly past them. Searching too hard will make noise. Opening doors and lifting hatchets makes noise. Everything makes noise, and your killers will see that on their end. And you, family member, your objective is to kill those survivors.
A native of Uvalde was last seen near the town of Newt. The vehicle was recently discovered abandoned, with officials reporting no signs of foul play. Authorities are hopeful that the expanded search in nearby communities of Harlow and Chinatown will unearth new leads. Family and friends.
To do this, you are going to want to feed Grandpa blood. Yes, you heard me correctly, friends. You will want to feed your grandfather some blood. Doing this will raise Grandpa's meter, which will give the family members passive abilities, stuff like being able to detect survivors longer, etc., etc. Blood pits can be found around the map, and I believe refill after a certain amount of times. You will want to be keenly aware of where the noise cues are coming from, because that is where your survivors are. You'll see large red circles on the map showing you the location of the noise. So, here at 3 Dads on a Console, we don't rate games because ratings don't mean anything. We basically try to answer 2 questions. 1, can you play this with your child? And 2, can your child watch you play this? My answer obviously is no. Depending on how old your kid is, if you have a young kid, you're not going to want to have them watch Leatherface cut somebody in half, but that's your call. You're their parent. I'm not. It's quite gory. It's quite violent. The jump scares can be legit. I would say teen and above is fine, but anything under that, you're running the risk of having to deal with 2 a.m. nightmares. Plain and simple. I've been there. It's not fun. So, friends, if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me if you're going to play the game or not. It is on Xbox Game Pass, it is on Steam, and it is crossplay. So the population is the game is pretty well filled. So are you going to play it? And if you enjoyed this review, please leave a like. Again, leave a sub. Have yourselves a great day. Thank you so much for joining. Goodbye.